Okay, this will, of course, be, sadly, let me say sadly, our last video. And you know what? Oh, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Math is fun. Fractions rule. And you better believe I'm sticking a baby in there. Oh yeah. Alright? Alright. I torture my students every day with that. Oh, I love it. Okay. 37. Just only got to think about a minute. The monthly expenses for a family are represented by a circle graph. How many degrees of the circle will be needed to show that 20% of the expenses are used for clothes? Okay, wow. Nothing like this in any of the lecture material, right? In the review course they gave me. You know, if I have a circle here, remember we did talk degrees though, right? You know, and if I drew something like that, I called that about 45 degrees, halfway of the perfect square corner here, because the perfect square corner would be 90 degrees, right? So all the way around the whole circle would be 360 degrees, okay? So 360 degrees. If I have this circle chart, this representing, you know, my, what was it, our family expenses or something? Yeah. If I have this chart, I'm going to fill out this pie chart, you know, certain part's going to be clothes, you know, clothes. Another part's going to be food. Another part's going to be, you know, rent or whatever. Blah 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 blah. All these little pieces in here are going to represent things, right? Well, all together, the whole way around, that's going to be 100% of my expenses, isn't it? So I can set up a proportion that 360 degrees is equivalent to 100% of my expenses. Okay, those two things match. 360 degrees all the way around that circle would be 100% of my expenses. So now I'm asked a little question here though. 20% of my expenses would be how many degrees? I don't know. Let's find out. So degrees is missing, so I'm going to put the X there, and I'm going to put 20% down there. Okay? And that's how we're going to do it. Classic proportion. So 100% times X. And there are simpler ways to do this with the percentages, but I don't want to get tied up with it here. Equals 20% times 360. Well, what is 100%? That's just the value of 1, right? So I've really got 1x equals 20%, which is 0.2 times 360. What is 0.2 times 360? Let's figure it out. Error. No good there. 0.2 times 360 equals 72. Okay, so 72 degrees is one of my choices. That would correspond to 20% of my expenses. Okay? Alright, sweet. 38. How many 8x8 tiles will be needed to cover a 12 by 12 foot floor? 8 by 8 inch tiles will be needed to cover 12 by 12 foot floor. Okay, we've got a classic unit mismatch here first of all. Now the question is asking about inch wide tiles here, so I want to convert my floor to inches first of all. And I'm going to grab this whole problem down here where I've got some room. So I've got 8 inch by 8 inch tiles, but I've got a floor that's 12 feet by 12 feet. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to convert this floor into inches. So I got to convert those 12 inches into how many, feet. I got to convert my 12 feet into inches. Remember how to do that? We all know there's 12 inches per foot, right? 12 inches per 1 foot. Feet cancel, so that's going to be 144 inches. Okay, so my floor is really 144 inches by 144 inches. That's my floor. Okay, so what's the area of my floor? Area of the floor equals 144 inches times 144 inches. And how much is that? 144 times 144. 20,736. 20,736. What's the unit? The unit would be inches squared, square inches. Okay? That's my whole floor. Okay? Well, each tile is 8 inches by 8 inches, right? So what's the area of the tile? 8 inches times 8 inches equals 64 square inches, right? Each tile. So I have this much surface to cover, and every tile is going to cover this much surface. A little division problem here now, right, to figure out how many tiles. So the number of tiles equals 20,736 square inches divided by 64 square inches, and you see the units disappear, which is good, because I want to know how many tiles. I shouldn't have anything to do with inches in my answer. I should have a number of tiles. 20,736 divided by 64, I get 324 tiles. Hopefully that's the answer. Yes, it is. 324. Okay? There we go. Alright, cool. 39. Which of these fractions is equal to that? Well, how do you turn a percent to a fraction? Well, first let's turn a percent to a decimal, right? How do you go from percent to decimal? Okay, let's be cautious. It's a really small number to begin with. When I go from percent to decimal, I move that decimal 2 places to the left, right? So it's already to the left. It's going to go more to the left. So it's going to be 0.0004 would be the decimal form of that percent. All agree? 2 places to the left and drop the percent sign. Well, now how do you turn a decimal into a fraction? Well, I got to take that decimal and move it to the other side of the 4. So 1, 2, 3. It's got to move 4 places. But to compensate for that, I got to divide by 4 powers of 10. So how would I read that number? 4 10,000ths. That's how I would read that number. Okay? Now that's not one of my choices, though, is it? No. So I'm going to have to simplify and reduce that fraction a little bit. Okay, and I think we could all probably see here that 4, I could factor that into 4 times 1, and that 10,000 I could factor into 2,500 times 4. All agree that those two things would be equivalent? 4's cancel. All I have is 1 over 2,500 left, and that is one of my choices. Okay, so 39 would be choice A. All right, and finally 40. The decimal that equals 1/8 of a percent is, well, okay. Let's turn the fraction into a decimal first of all. Okay, 1 divided by 8, if you don't have that one memorized, easy calculator operation. 1 divided by 8 is 0.125, so that's 0.125%. How do you turn a percent to a straight decimal? We just did it a minute ago. We got to go 2 places to the left and drop the percent sign. So it's going to be 0.00125 as a straight decimal. And that would be choice A. Okay? All right. Well, I hope you did well on the exam. I hope you did better on this exam than you did when we first started the course. Again, highly unorthodox course here with me sitting in my little bunker at home with the kids pounding on the door and speaking to myself like a weirdo. But I hope you get something out of the lectures, okay? I would have loved to be there. I very much enjoy being up in front of the class on the board and conveying this information. So just obviously with the circumstances, it didn't work out that way. So like I said, I hope you learned something, number one, enjoyed yourself. It is all downhill after this. I'm sorry, I mentioned that on the opening video. You know, math is going to be the best part of your little course here. So it's all downhill after this. Alright, I don't want to keep rambling. Math is fun, fractions rule, baby. I'll leave it at that. Come on, focus at least. Here we go. What more do I need to say? Thank you very much. If you need to contact me, again, email. Let me show it one more time. You should have it. Now I gotta zoom away from the good stuff for this. S. Cooper, number 2. Okay, at CLC Illinois .edu. Okay, it'll be, well, obviously it's on the course anyway. All right, thanks very much.